Coming in as the favorites, everybody thought Group B was the hardest. Whoever made it out and got to the play-ins, they would be favored. But you should in no way write off MIBR or G2. You look at the map pool, if MIBR are able to pull away a win on Split or Sunset, they've got a great chance here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at the buy on the pistol. Mazine has bought Frenzy double flash, so this is going to be a fast round, no map control.
All grouped up into B, they are just contacting forwards. Disrespect shown as two players from SEN. Paranoia held by Tens. Gonna have to be a key piece of util. Now the explosion straight through into the side. It's a double satchel. Paranoia matters not. In the close quarters fight, Tens still active close to the pillar. He needs some help and assistance from the rest of his team. Taking the damage, and finally, the reinforcements arriving.
They may have played the last game yesterday, but they looked incredibly prepared for that pistol. Like I said, Mazine goes Frenzy, double flash, so they knew that that was going to be a B-burst on the side of MIBR. They'd already planned that. But for SEN, they don't know exactly what pistol round's coming out, and yet they looked perfectly prepared to deal with it. Tens holding the Paranoia, and sure, the first wave of people ended up getting caught, but second is out through the smoke on top of rafters. John comes in from spawn, all supporting Tens, who tucks on site. Impeccably played from SEN on the pistol. And you look at my expectations for this map are that both teams are going to look even better on their defense side.
I would agree with that. Desk was talking it up as well. I mean, SEN's defensive setups are so good on this map.
And they're so happy to play retake, and they're winning. I think the stat was 60% of them in the desk right before this. So
they just have such a good idea in terms of what the protocols are, what areas of the map to fight over that are essential.
But that also means that if you're a fan of MIBR, if you're rooting for this Brazilian organization to have redemption here and make it through to our kickoff playoffs, then you should still hold hope, even if this first half doesn't work out too well for them. Yeah. Because they've also looked pretty solid on the defense side, running double duelist, which is a little unusual, to be honest. Now, in this round, MIBR have found an opening. There are 3 SEN players walking down mid, dominating that area, and MIBR have walked all the way into A. SEN love playing A retake. Usually, they'll have Cypher trips over there, so you'll know to some degree when MIBR are in. But SEN could easily get caught out by FRZ or by Ardazine here.
And yeah, running and gunning will clear up. FRZ, lovely shot. Rattled across there. JZA with that one. Plant will still come online into the post plant here. Now, only 3 players left, a lot of damage done to JZA. You can't think there's too much of a chance. He's going to tuck himself into the off-angle cage, blocks off the retreat, at least for the approach now. The Sentinels still being watched as well. Look at that awareness from John QT, making sure he's got this guy penned in.
Ten's just paranoid all of his team.
The satchel through, RGL onto the side. All the pieces accounted for. The exception, JZA, but finally there it is. So 4 players survive.
Very well dealt with from Sentinels. That's the real discipline and the protocols in terms of how they come back into the round. Ardazine looked like he could have tried to make a play over towards screens if somebody had been snoozing at the wheel and he caught somebody off guard. That's not the case. SEN are super disciplined. Even Tens throws out the Paranoia to clear out like hell. And he knows he's going to blind some of his team, but that's the piece of utility they've chosen to throw in that situation. Looks amusing, but it's part of the game plan. So now SEN have got themselves some of that like close range weaponry to work with here. That's going to require them to get a bit more aggressive. They could try a flood defense in this round rather than some big set retake.
There's a lot of bite to this round, despite the economical disadvantage that SEN are working with on the bonus. You think about a map like Split, very close quarters. Smoke, first one propped up here. MIBR still opting into just the contact plays, but a flash through and a pop there. That is that connection. Spraying with Zekken, then a nade, and it's just a follow-up. And a follow-up through with Zelsis right there behind him. There's that cleanup. Zelsis dropping, it opens up mid. QT going to be feeling the heat now. Turned up ever so slightly, but there's no pace increase. MIBR happy to slow it down.
FRZ gives away that he's playing inside B main, so they know that the 1-3-1 default, the player over towards B, was pushed fairly deep. But now they come away and Sentinels are re-exploring mid.
Damage maybe with a rifle, it could have been possible. Sassy also dropped down to 15. There's no way he survives that, but he does.
MIBR, very slow approach to the round, but it looks like they're going to be able to get themselves in a great position to A split. Tens, Paranoia, and a Stinger, anchoring A from elbow. So much pressure about to come into him.
There's no more util for MIBR really to use to try and clear him out of this corner. Here we go. Straight in again with the stinger. How many bullets left? Whips out the ghost as well. No time for the reload. Smoke drop down to try and at least split up this site. Here's the footsteps. And John QT is right there behind him. Seconds dwindling. Rattled down. They have to try and get this down with the spike, but already it's dropped down into the smoke. 1v1. RDZ so low! And a clutch for John QT. I have to question that. Ardazini goes for the swing in the fight there. He had time to plant.
He did. I mean, he just gets scrambled in that moment. Red Bull clutch coming through. John QT officially, but I'm very impressed with what Ten's got done there. Stinger kill, finds the perfect time in the peak elbow, throws out a smoke, which is really nice for him to play around. Stopped him getting swung. And then he's also able, just with a ghost, to set up a little crossfire with John to be able to pick off another player. You look at that on the minimap, MIBR are about to crunch 4 players into 10s. It doesn't look doable for him, yet he still survives.
Really shouldn't have been. Swift entrance into mid. All the bullets rattled away. Zelsis is in trouble. He can really get punished hard. Oh my, stalemate. Walking away, wounds inflicted onto either side.
Ardazine almost getting caught by the dog as well. In the meantime, Zeken's tucked into this corner. Fairly unexpected, you've got to imagine. FRZ's pressuring over towards A main. Didn't meet a trip necessarily, but I think saw the cam up in A heaven, which John is using just to make sure that nobody's taking space.
Here.
It's another round where MIBR are kind of getting really deep here, starting their exec from a lot of map control. That suggests to me that they have a good read on how SEN are playing.
Trailblazer to try and feign like they could be taking B control, maybe pulling a few rotations away. This time the strike for MIBR. Now the scale out into heaven, revealing himself. Sassy behind Maps, definitely spawnable in that spot. They're not ready for it. Celsius dominates the smoke angle. Look at this one here. Even close to the default plan spot. Sassy just has to watch his teammates back, which he will. Shuts down Addison. RGL Meister.
SEN are throwing in some different looks. This time, hard anchoring with John QT and Sassy. That's not something that we've seen them do too much. Normally, they're playing for A heaven control. But really what decides that round is that JCSA is just not ready for Zelsis to come into this smoke. It's such a risky decision from Zelsis to walk into it like that. And unfortunately, it was just as JCSA was kind of backing off. There was such a serious chance there for Zelsis to lose that duel, drop a weapon, snowball into MIBR having an advantage. But not the case.
Tiny differences in the round, but 4-0 for SEN. Get the guns online for MIBR now.
The attack side is a very structured approach from MIBR in almost every round. But they have not noticed this cam. John's had the cam in heaven the whole time, and they just aren't even thinking about it.
So then there's 2 players over towards A with a contact. They're going to play through this one. Snake bite, nade, or pushes the players out into the open wide! And second rips them apart!
Based off the information that they have there, how does MIBR possibly get this? Wow, the 2K from FRZ!
FRZ?
The spike still down, and these players up towards B heaven and mid, undetected as yet. Not great info on where they are, although RGL stomping around in vents is going to give away the spot.
2-piece though, maybe enough chaos strewn into the round for MIBR to stand a chance.
It's so difficult to retrieve the spike, and Tens is coming around behind.
Paranoia went gliding right over their heads. They hear the ropes. Yeah, he's just trying to fight them right behind. 1 for 1. They know exactly where RGL is.
30 seconds.
Made all the noise in the world. Almost doable.
We saw RGL go crazy for MIBR in the game against Cloud9. You don't want to offer him too many of the chances to be able to get that, but 5 in a row from Sentinels.
Not as good a start as you could hope for.
The cam in this round giving them full info that there were players on A ramp and allowed them to do a re-clear. But it's really rare that you see a re-clear that doesn't involve Sky utility.
Yeah, like a flash.
That was a raise nade and a snake bite, and they just completely cleared Mazine out of the position. And Mazine, unfortunately, trying to call these super disciplined, slow 1-3-1 defaults for MIBR. not only is he kind of getting outread by Sentinels, who are being very mobile on defense and changing up their setups, he's also got caught in that round, sat at the bottom of the scoreboard 0-5. This is going to be tough. It is going to be difficult for MIBR to come up with a game plan that works here.
Yeah, that's the trouble. You try and, go explosive, increase that tempo off the rip as soon as the barriers go down. SEN are perfectly happy to play retake. And supportive util is always there as well, just to make sure if there is a player anchoring, for example, out into elbow. Tens likes to play there, sometimes Sassy. It's usually going to be smokes to support them, or maybe even just really far back defensive trips. This is the real issue you run into, honestly, when you start playing against Sentinels on split. It's like a home field advantage. They put so much work into this one particular side of the map, alternating the setups, and they're so well drilled of how they play it.
MIBR don't need many rounds on this half, but they do need some.
Yeah, you can't just sit at the goose egg, exactly. Double satchel up top here, nade, rebounded. That's going to be landing into vents. Late trip. Put down by John QT, but a side gained and gathered, and exactly what I was saying prior. I mean, SEN are perfectly happy to give you all the space here because they're so drilled with the retake protocol.
Now this round, though, might get a little difficult because of the pit that FRZ's thrown down.
Planted.
And the showstopper.
Yeah, well,
Zay close here.
Speaking of that,
trying to re-clear him. Yeah, there's a smoke in his face. He hears him. Somane against the wall, rebounds, is traded.
1-for-1 is actually not that bad there for Sentinels. Sassy's Seekers can help them re-clear this pit.
You want to find it?
Jesus, they could have almost got 3 in that spot.
Cosmic Divide. Offloaded. A lot of utils to try and win this round. Out. RGL down. That's the rocket. And just catching onto the heels of Mazine. In through the smoke. Shotguns are bound. Last player left is FRZ. And he can't stand that pressure. Sentinel's too good.
So beautifully done by SEN there. And it's brutal to watch from MIBR's perspective because that's an eco round, but they feel like it's winnable. They got in onto the plant, so they use the pit, they use the showstopper, they use their big tools that they would want here.
Cosmic Divide as well.
Yeah. And it was winnable, but the outplay there from Zekken to dodge the rocket, get a kill off the back of the Seekers, pop his own ultimate, and then come in off the back after he'd naded FRZ out of the safe corner. I mean, just a glorious round from Zekken. And unfortunately, even when the team play requires a little bit of individualism, SEN have got it. Unfortunately for MIBR, that is.
Look at the way they adjust the setups again. I mean, pit into mids, adjustments with the trips all over towards B. It funnels MIBR now in through B main. It's going to be putting a lot of emphasis onto John QT with his setups. And right in his face, still good for one. I mean, there's a player above him and to the side at the bottom of the smoke. What is going on?
Phantom moment. Just spraying whilst strafing from side to side there. Only 2 players surviving.
At least gets the plant off, but you got to think, again, so damn hard. Mazine, B main control. MIBR, you got to take some risks in this situation, in this scenario. You can't just let them play for the retake optimally. There's one. Trade was a bit delayed, but Tens eventually gets it labored in the process. Sassy with a defuse, sticking half already. The win conditions are just dwindling. Sentinels up to 7. Mazine is going to want to save this gun.
And Sentinels, they are the favorites in this play-in. And they have looked phenomenal on the defense side of Split. But I was expecting there to be more moments than this for MIBR to be able to get some impact in these rounds. It's just looked clinical from Sentinels.
Be looking at one of the fastest maps we've seen in Americas. I don't know what that is, but we'll get our finest minds on the job, probably.
And notice how they've moved their defensive setup again. John Cutie was anchoring B in the previous round. This time moves his setup back over towards A. Yeah. Very difficult to get a read on exactly what's going on when your players on the outsides of the map play such kind of passive positions. I mean, look at the way that these players are positioned over here. It's very far away from the action. Generally speaking, MIBR, the people holding the outsides of the map are going to play really disciplined. But that also means you don't get a good read on who's anchoring where. You know, you interact with the Cypher utility very late in the round. FRZ's going to try to make something happen with a slightly more aggressive lurk on a ramp.
Here.
But his toes have been seen.
Spotted, betrayed.
Feet picks for free?
That's just out of pocket. Okay. 45 seconds.
I mean, they know that FRZ is there. They're now using the Skydog to flush him out.
Balls made to try and commit over towards A. You can see the spikes making its move and ground over towards it, but Sentinels are not giving up this space. Not out of heaven. Players through main now. Dash forwards, kill trip. John QT is to set up an adjustment you can. Read this one, a gap into the wall. Reveals all. Wow, Sassy to get the one pick and now just evacuates, backing away. Spike dropped down into a really unfortunate location, playing within the smokes. Eventually we'll start to fade here. Players walking up onto the sides, but look at it.
Ready.
Players don't know which way to look here. For MIBR, it's just impossible. There's no easy fight granted. And there's eventually going to be the triple face with a satchel to set it all up. Oh. 8-0. It's clinical. It's a masterclass.
It absolutely is. And you got to remember as well that MIBR are playing last year's meta. There was a lot of talk from the desk about how they didn't really like the solo Sky, but I think it goes even a little deeper than that because Sentinels are also playing solo Sky, right? In terms of the initiators they have online. But the fact that you know what MIBR are going to do, and you've seen it all last year, there is nothing new really that MIBR can pull out on this side of the map, or even the other, that you haven't experienced. And SEN's comp is so good at being able to shut down what MIBR are going for.
Blinded.
They need something huge here.
I don't know what that is, but
Mitch on the desk was asking Artesine to step up and be the big player, or at least to have a better interaction with those first kill to first deaths.
yeah.
We saw RGL, the Wrigglemeister. He was wriggling all over them in the Cloud9 game.
Out.
But
Got the potential.
there haven't been any moments where individuals can shine in this map so far for MIBR because the team shutdown has been so severe.
No gaps for them to work with. Updraft dash in through. Artesine is going to be grind to the side. Plant online, nade forwards. JZZ wants to really press the advantage he potentially had.
Artesine planted for heaven.
How are they all going down here? I mean, nades just popping off all over the place.
It's just spam from heaven kills Artesine and then another nade coming through.
Paranoid to clear it out. Got to retreat here, close, tuck to the corner. Second, this guy is on one right now. He knows what a player is. The bullets fired. Transfer from Mazine, but he's just one man. What can you do? Not much, man. Not much. Well-oiled war machine that is Sentinels. 9-0. They don't even look stressed.
Nah. There's nothing that MIBR are doing now. In fact, it looked better earlier on in the game, where they were adding in more contact plays and trying to find the gaps because they were assuming Sentinels were playing off-site a lot.
Yeah.
But at this point, yeah, it's time for the tactical timeout. But even if MIBR get 3 on their attack side, even with how good MIBR's defense has looked here on this map, you know, when they played previously, is this anywhere close to being doable?
No, it was good, it was good.
This looks unlikely. Everybody locked in. MIBR with a bit of attack timeout. But genuinely, I mean, we can see all the available options. We can see all the information when we're casting up here. And even I'm struggling to come up with options.
Yeah, I think there's got to be more in terms of trying to contact around the map just a little. Because I think MIBR have got stuck in the last kind of 4 rounds of just pouncing on a site.
Trying to go all in.
And they don't really know who's anchoring. Yeah. They don't really know where the trip setups are. And I think that when SEN are playing, because they do like to fall off sites fairly easily and play for the retake, there should be some space that opens up. You know, if the Cypher setup is over towards A, and you have that ramp lurk that finds the camera, then maybe you can get one of your other smokes players out towards B. I think trying to play for the aggressive lurks on either side of the map and see who comes out with the goods. It sounds a bit desperate, but I think that might be their best opportunity at this point. It is desperation time for MIBR, on this map at least. Yeah. And really, when you look at the decider on Sunset, which is, most teams have been banning that against Sentinels.
MIBR, time to get a little bit quirky with the timings perhaps, but it looks like this is again another all-in approach. Flash, big connection, and Tens is there to instantly respond. He drops him. JZZ unable to lead the initiative here for the rest of the team, and still they're going to follow through, attempt to at least get a bit of that space, but another first kill does not go their way. Tens still here, bullets rattling. Jump spot, getting that info, seeing the one player here. What is the answer again for MIBR? Backing away, minute 10 on the clock.
And because this round, they started 5 towards A ramp, soon as they lose JCZ, they have no options everywhere else.
No prior map control has been gained by a player lurking.
Yeah, they don't know. Zekken could have walked down mid. They, you know, the Sentinels players might be inside B main right now, ready for this. It's very difficult. Artazine could make something happen on an aggressive lurk towards A. They didn't see the Cypher.
Maybe what they're relying on, but
generally John and Tens are going to be on opposite sides of the map.
These are the difficulties. Desk was talking about, you know, these solo sky comps. Just a little bit dated at this point. MIBR forced to just double up or the contact their way into positions. RIOT Meister was not ready.
That's quite incredible, that timing. Couldn't have been more perfect for Zekken.
Is that off the cam?
I'm not 100%.
Yeah, not too sure either, but on QT now knows his presence here, but time, oh, it's completely against him. 12 seconds. Going down to almost nothing. Lovely kill for FRZ. Tap off the plan. Mazine doesn't stick, doesn't commit. Finally, though, bit of trust in his teammates, at least to have his back, but it's a really unorthodox plan location. And this post plan relies heavily on these Heaven players. This fight that's coming up, it's going to be critical, it's going to be vital. Flash, very deep onto the ankle. Artazine, he's forwards, and he's trying to pounce. Lovely movement, isolates one, isolates the next! And this is what they needed, that individuality. Camp broken, leave it to John QT. But the round should be sealed. John, not too much you can do here. A fight there from hell. So finally, MIBR, they get themselves on the board.
And let that be a lesson to you, Sentinels. Nobody takes 10 rounds in a row against MIBR. Yeah, Artazine stepping up there. Massive performance from him, being able to hold off that retake of B Heaven. Can they get 3? Can they get the pistol? Can they make this doable? It's important the Sentinels don't take their foot off the gas completely. Like we said, both of these teams should be better on the defense side. But any round has just been, I mean, so far away from coming for MIBR until that 3K.
Painstaking, and it just gets even worse off the rip. I mean, the first kill's going Sentinel's way every single time.
And JCZ there isn't even in a super committed position. They know that they're going for a ramp control, spam when the wall goes up, and Sassy's got a perfect angle.
What's the call again? Everybody still holding hands into the A main choke. They pause, grab the orb. Trailblazer broken, but full reinforcements arriving. The cavalry is here. The call is made from SEN. They want to re-clear this one. Forwards, Artazine leading it, but Tens onto the high ground. The collapse and pincer maneuvers. It's just elite. RGL, the lone survivor. There's just no world, is there? There's just no world.
It's tough in this position for MIBR because you want to still believe, but when you're down 9-1 and you're in a 1v4,
you know it's going to be 10-1.
And the rest of your teammates are sat there quietly,
stewing.
30 seconds left.
Thinking about the situation that they're in, thinking about, maybe even at this point, the next half, the next map maybe even as well. It is tough. And this is a grueling play-ins that we've got coming up.
Oh, yeah.
MIBR playing back-to-back matches after beating or losing to Sentinels. And they still have another one instantly afterwards.
It is that marathon, really. I mean,
it's a grueling gauntlet.
Test that endurance, test the form as well, coming into each of these matches. But for now, it's all Sentinels.
And I feel bad for MIBR too, because I can definitely say I underrated MIBR coming into this season. From what we've seen of them in kickoff so far, they did such a great job at responding in that Cloud9 game. And maybe if they'd started defense on split, maybe this could have been a little bit of a closer match. But at the moment, they are getting slammed.
Yeah. It's systematic dismantling, really. Setups, adjustments. There's no heavy read for MIBR here. At this point, it's just relying on that individuality. Raw firepower. And they carve out a path into mid. Seekers drop down. Celsius has to respect that one now. Backs away entirely to Molly. What? Gets onto JCC, was comboed, I think, with a nade from the other side of the map. That was Zekken.
Oh, how is just the simplest of util combos finding the pick for them at the beginning of the round? JCZ's first death ratio must be off the charts right now.
It's frantic by MIBR. I mean, they see it's the slightest of weaknesses, the potential for a kill, and they all just try and jump onto it. Leads to those openings happening for them. Remember, there's one player anchoring onto the site. This entire time, Celsius, he retreated, smoked here to divide the map. At least into the side. Paranoia sent flying. Look for the repeat. You can hear the footsteps all around him. They just don't know where he is. Good. Instant response from FRC. He pretends he's lurking, contacting into the angle. Finds himself a 3-1.
Planted.
2 players left alive for MIBR in the final round of this half.
Zekken is very carefully clearing. Sassy tried to do the same and got caught. FRZ on an interesting off angle. Taking down his former teammate from ancient times.
Second, he's not playing with 10s yet. Still worried, actually, there could be a player up into heaven. Ult. That spot 2, not too sure, but the info may be there with the ping. Satchel, kill. There from Mazzy in 10s. 10s all in a 1v2. It's too much for him to tackle, even with that momentous lead. So a second round for MIBR. The question being, will it be enough?
A thin thread that MIBR's chances on split are balancing by right now. Nice off angles played there by FRZ and by Mazine, who got caught by the Omen ultimate and then repositioned to catch second. What's the morale looking like even?
Yeah, I mean, that is just such a question. Well, Sentinels have had to fight their way into the play-ins, but Celsius is confident that their chances.
Oh, I definitely think that Sentinels is a favorite of playing. Like, you know, Loud, 100 Thieves, Lev, us, like, you know, outside of all things considered, every team in NA is really stacked and really good. Like, I think NA is like the best region, but outside of that, I do think our group was like the hardest group. So, you know, we're coming into play in full confidence. Obviously, we lost to Loud pretty closely. Like, if you look back the game, it was really close split, really close on Ascent, considering the rounds or whatever, the mistakes we made, stuff like that. No discredit to them. Like, Loud earned that game, they won it. But I think for us, like, we're still like, you know, it could swing either way in our group. But now that, you know, we made play in, I think we're the favorites for sure.
It is really important that Sentinels perform in matches that super matter, like this, like the play-ins that they're in currently. Because it's one thing to be the favorites and to feel really good about how you're performing, but you've also got to bring it in these massive moments and put down the competition and make sure that you don't get upset. And at the moment, it's not like Sentinels came into this thinking it's just MIBR. And they have put on a masterclass performance on this defense side. And they're pretty close to closing it out on the first map.
Think about the Sentinels, I mean, they've got a lot to achieve this year with the expectations that get weighed against them. Previous year wasn't good at all in the slightest. Same could be said for MIBR. These are 2 teams that, you know, they are trying to get that chance of redemption. This is what 2024 is all about for them. They don't want to end it early. You know, yes, bad outcome for this first match doesn't mean the end of the world for the play-ins, but it does make it significantly harder. And for Sentinels, they are in full control of the situation right now. It's 10-2. The next pistol round is basically going to decide this map.
I think redemption is a great word for describing both of these teams. They're both trying to rewrite their reputations from 2023 and carve out new identities for themselves. But the expectations are still quite different. For MIBR, being competitive is a huge step up. For Sentinels, they're looking actually to win, to go to Madrid, to make it out of the play-ins. Here comes the pistol. MIBR dominating B main control at the beginning, but there's double flash set up.
Insanity. Jay says, hey, anti-flash though, he dodges it! And just turns him into mincemeat!
Sick setup. Anticipated that reclear completely. Knew what was coming. Things get difficult, but MIBR have also lost a lot of information. They've given up B site completely. They've given up mid. So there is still potential here for Tenzor John QD to just catch people on unexpected timings. MIBR are going to have to play tight together here.
Opting to just play side by side. The running and gunning will do it. Tapped from 10s, but 3 players to contend and tangle with. Smoke dropped, plant. Try to push this one back, Trailblazer. Be there. Avoided and dodged. Another smoke on top of it. In through the smoke. Wow, I mean, Mazin's is way ahead of the curve. Damage done! 1v1! Oh! Okay, safe hands from Arzine, just barely.
Well done by Arzine at the end there for saving that round. But MIBR looking...
I mean, man, Arzine was so
loose.
Far ahead of everyone there. There was no follow-up of him just running.
This opening to the round, though, beautiful from MIBR, right? You gotta say that to set them up in the player advantage. And then Mazine, whoa, looking a little out of it. Maybe a bit, you know, still mentally taxed from the first half. MIBR have got to focus up, make sure that they convert those rounds after setting up their game plan so well at the start in the first, like, 5 seconds. Here's another round where the same story has to happen, right? You have a massive advantage. You got to play tight to close it out. You can't allow Sentinels any edge into this. It's got to be so clean to pull off this comeback.
Cover going out.
Util combo. A through one side. Nice timing there from RGL, and that is clean. That's what you want to see. If you're made in Brazil. Perfectly clean.
Whoa, don't think it's
They didn't manage to load the kills into somebody with a huge ultimate, but if they can get the Cosmic Divide online at some point soon, that'll be really useful for retake situations.
One enemy remaining.
Excellent timing, yeah. Excellent timing from RGL.
Now we're taking a look at Sentinels, set up to go for some kind of A pressure, with JZZ and Mazine to receive.
First time we see the guns in the hands of Sentinels on their attack sides. And that's a lovely one. Tens falls almost immediately.
That is real early. Mazine uses the dog in the first 3 seconds of the round, and JZZ just swings instantly.
Eager to take these fights. Flex a bit of that muscle and firepower. That is a really interesting way to deal with it. The jiggle peek onto the corner is common enough. A wide face evens it out 4-4. Even baiting the dash out of Arzine, thinking there was going to be something else to it.
It's a difficult round to approach without tens on the board. The Omen smokes. Not having access to them means you have so many different angles to worry about. John and Sassy looking like they wanted to pressure ramp there for a moment. Sassy still has the Trailblazer. These players are close though, re-clearing, the timing, indecisive from Sen. But now they've committed.
Yeah, all 4 players now leading the charge onto the site. They have given up control of main, wrapped around Celsius. Traded. For the 1, 3 versus 3 here. The post-plant positioning is not good from Sentinels. Gonna have to take some magical moments for them to try and bail themselves out of this one here. Containment by MIBR. Got every angle watched for. Every angle but Zekken. Sprays them through. 30 health to his name, and FRZ is left alone with the Spectre. Obtains the upgrade. The nasty, nasty angle.
That's ludicrous. That is ludicrous. Sentinels were in such an uncomfortable position. 3 in elbow. They were looking to try to flash off cam contact and then realized that they were going to get pushed from screens. They're forced to accelerate, and then somehow Zekken manages to spray down 2. Oh, right before he gets punished by FRZ peeking screens. Not too bad, though, for MIBR. That was their bonus. They've done some damage to the Sentinels' economy. And Arzine has the operator online, looking to try to fight in front of this Viper setup over on B.
With every round lost, the gap slowly closes. It's a little bit more suffocating. Tens is just deep here. Both TPs committed. There was a stun. The Trailblazer, he is lucky to be alive.
And if that forces people from Sentinels to back off, you have to be aware of this off angle that's happening over towards B. This line, interesting interaction with how it works with the Viper wall there, although it looks like they're managing to avoid it, circumventing Arzine and his impact.
3 players into mid, RGL tucked into the smoke. Potential danger here for him. He needs a refresh into this mid angle here. He's in a lot of trouble. Here's the noise cues that are being made. FRZ now has to step up.
FRZ and RGL are so alone.
This angle, double drop down! Cleans him up!
That's huge. Exactly what the doctor ordered for MIBR. Just a solo play, tucking in the corner, taking a gamble pays off.
Now it has to be the solo plays across the map. Celsius can get anything done, but for MIBR, it's exactly what they needed.
Toxins going up.
Tapping the drop down. Oh, FRZ missing the timing on that one, so I don't know that there's space there for them with 20 seconds left, though. This is it. Got to get a move on if you are Sentinels here. RGL, does he expect the players across? Definitely does now from the sound. Hughes, a bit of a trail, sold out by them. Drops one. Spike hits the deck. Follow-up from Zelsis is there, but they have to contend with main. This position of Ardazine, he sees the barrel and nails the head. John QT swarmed and approached every angle. MIBR surviving. 4 players intact. The guns are there. The economy can get a bit of breathing room.
Yeah, that's massively important for MIBR. And what wins it at the end of the day is not some kind of, fantastic set play on the defense, but it's a tiny little area uncleared by SEN as they did that double drop into vent.
Let me know if you need heat.
FRZ just tucked right up against the wall as close as you could possibly be. The most likely angle for Sentinels to not clear.
This angle's a brutal one.
And they double drop down to make sure if there is somebody in vent, they can get that trade kill.
I don't know. I mean, sometimes it happens, but it can be a bit of a view model diff.
Spike planted.
Sometimes the gun ends up blocking a player in that angle. That's why they get so much value, but in that case, it was a huge step up.
And with MIBR being so many rounds down, they're willing to take those kind of risks.
Yeah.
You saw the kind of 2 people covering mid, RGL and FRZ, were both taking those kind of risks. RGL was just ready to fight inside a smoke, and FRZ tucked himself in a corner, hoping not to get cleared. SEN's attack side on this map has certainly not looked as good as their defense. And that's why we were saying there were chances for MIBR if they got enough at the half and won the pistol. Well, they got the pistol, but only 2 at the half. That does make things
It makes things
very tough.
Difficult, but not an impossibility.
Certainly not impossible.
Just got to keep stringing together the rounds.
Take them one at a time.
Yeah. 1 step at a time. Big ult's online, so JZZ with a showstopper. Definitely use that to try and react, maybe play a bit more riskily on some certain angles as well. You can get away with murder. Not worried about stuns connecting or being cleared out.
MIBR are also finding the first pick with much higher consistency than they were in the first half. They took down 10s at the beginning of one of the rounds very quickly.
Tight burst of the bullets. An attempt to punish across with the Trailblazer. Sassy setup, Paranoia gliding through. Molly at the feet though. Try and stop them! What a no-scope!
Here.
Oh my, pure reactions at play here from Ardazine. You could hear the sound cue of that one with the Satchels gliding through the air, but the side is gathered and gained now for Sentinels.
It was such an awesome setup too. Sassy flashed Heaven from ramp as if Zaken was going to push from that angle. Really disguising the pathing.
Planted.
Weaker weaponry from Sen, now 10s with the reposition. He was spotted. Fuzzy should be aware of this. Recall cleared. Called by MIBR. Ardazine hoping to just hold any sort of aggressive push that might just come from behind. Flash through from Sassy again.
Good anti-flash.
Lovely play by JZZ. And yeah, Ardazine's there, so the discipline on point for MIBR. All players surviving.
And dealing with the threats that SEN tried to throw in. A bit too aggressive there from 10s, I think. He's not the Astra, so he's not playing his life for a pull or something like that, but just trying to take the 1v3 over towards ramp without Sassy to play off. Probably not the nicest way that you could have played that. But this shot to... basically the entirety of that round on the eco is designed for Zekken to fly in there, everybody to be looking towards ramp, and Zekken to be able to get a cheap kill. And Ardazine shuts it down with... both, to be honest. with a quick scope.
Here.
Good news for them. No real ults committed for MIBR. Plenty to work with. Attempt now to rally forwards. There's a Paranoia to set this one up. Links it with the Satchel. So Zekken. All that space. 10 to the TP. There's no way you commit that. Cancelled. Mazine, that's through the smoke. Rocket has to be offloaded into the smoke. Just barely missing each other. And there's a flash to set it up. And the push through. Zekken. Oh, he deletes him.
Well, it didn't work last round, throwing Zekken into the heaven smoke, but perfectly executed there. And SEN get themselves up to map point.
Match point.
I mean, that was huge. Really explosive from SEN. I thought for a moment TenZ was going to stick the TP, get punished by RGL. But the play throughout heaven, immaculate. That is just a ridiculous way to open up the round. Lovely play. I really enjoy how they've built this synergy now this year between Zekken and Sassy.
Amazing setup with the flash. Now all they need is one showstopper. Reactions. FRC to take him out, but it's a post-mortem kill from Zekken, so even 4 versus 4. TP4 as TenZ. You're right behind him, man. What are you doing?
I don't think there's any need to go for that in the 4v4.
That is a little bit insane.
He's assuming that there's not going to be anybody in vents because they already took down the Viper, but that's a large assumption after, like, 5 seconds already passed since you got the kill. Still possible for the win here. Committing big ultimates that they could have possibly saved for a better opportunity.
3 players just left alive here, but the Viper's Pit does make it really
It's so hard to get the plant down here.
It is. And that's a tap, forcing a response from MIBR. That's what SEN were hoping for. Seekers used, pop through. Even to a variety of players of MIBR, but still no kills going away of SEN, and they just can't get a safe plant off over the top. Dealt with, traded, instantaneous. Sassy, Pit drop down, and he will be falling. John QT, last one left, 1v2. They don't know where he is. They don't know where he is. There's 28 seconds left. Up top, up top, up top of Mazine. Whew.
Now that got a little silly.
It did get a little silly.
And there was a chance for John to be able to finish that out in the 1v2. I think generally speaking, you probably don't want to be taking those kind of risks, even though you're up 12-7. Those were big ultimates invested.
Massive ultimates. I mean, you think about it, Showstopper, Viper's Pit, Seekers, everything being used into that, and a round lost. MIBR can be really pleased with that. That was just insane to begin.
I mean, I do enjoy the Redguard cosplay that TenZ sometimes puts on. It's nice that even in Americas we can experience Angel and Redguard. Living vicariously through.
Very early Trailblazer. That space taken up, vacuumed into B main. Group up from SEN, it's 4 players into mid. And I have to make a call here to re-clear into B main. Zine with the forward angle. Good to break the dog.
TenZ has a really nice paranoia line if he wants to use it for them to retake B main control.
As good as a beginning as you could hope for MIBR.
It certainly is.
Oh, well, as I say that, I don't know how that kill comes through. Maybe just raw spam as the smoke was.
I'm not sure the smoke was up.
Yeah.
I think they might have just walked out into mid before that.
It's an awkward one.
Look at this line here that Artazine is posted on. They've got cages potentially to cross this, have they? No, not quite.
Oh, look at the bit explosive into it. Nothing to clear him off the angle, so it was important in the end. Dash is there. TP cuts across. No one's watching and managing it. Repositions. And now finally the charge in, an attempt by MIBR to really just collide with these players. John QT defending his teammates back. It's crumbled. This is the map.
Tragedy.
It's all on the line. Artisan, after such a brutal beginning for them, jumping round, can't hit the quick scope. It's cleaned up.
An immaculate first half from Sentinels. Sloppy ending, but it doesn't matter. Gets the job done. They win on split, looking towards Ascent and Sunset coming up.
This kind of format, every single map matters, every single round matters.
It's a great point. There is a chance that we get